Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar with Carlson Software, the best of Carlson Power Tools. I'm Ben Johnson with Carlson's marketing team, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. If you have questions at any point, and we hope you do, you can enter those into the question box located usually on the right-hand side of your screen in the GoToWebinar control panel window, and we'll do our best to answer all of them in our allotted time today. I'd also like to note that about 2 hours after the presentation ends, usually about 1 hour and 45, but you'll receive an email with a link to the recording of the entirety of today's session. And now I'd like to introduce today's presenter. He's Carlson's Regional Director for Canada. He's an accomplished bass guitarist. He's the creator of the Carlson Power Tools video series, and in certain circles, he is still known for his advanced instructional skills as Professor Landnut. He's Gary Rosen. Take it away, Professor.
Wow, thank you, Ben. I'm flattered. That was awesome. Well, thanks so much. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining today. And those of you that are going to watch the recording, thanks for checking that out later. Thanks to Louise and Jim Reinbold for setting up this Carlson Western webinars series. There's been a bunch of them, and I've only heard good things. So I think it's just been a great project these two gentlemen have launched. So thank you for doing that, and thanks for, I'm honored and flattered for inviting me to do one. Happy to try and help. I also would like to thank Ben for his help with everything. Ben is an integral part of our communications team. Everything that all of you and all of our customers and friends and clients hear and know and learn about Carlson is from this group of folks, and Ben has been a major contributor to that. So Ben, thanks for all that. Thanks for working on stuff with me here. And I understand today was your oldest son's first day of kindergarten. So congratulations. That's pretty awesome news. So, you know, the topic that they asked me to do was, you know, best of power tools, which was, again, very appreciative, flattering. The power tools have been fun. I've been doing them. I didn't even go back. I think it may be a year. I'm not sure. Done 8 of them. Been very thrilled with the response, and I hope they've been helpful. You know, I started looking through them and stuff, and I thought, you know, well, if I kind of just pick the good stuff out of these, I mean, basically all that stuff's already there. I could do it again, but they are all up there on YouTube, and you know, I could always change the presentation on stuff. But then I thought, well, what else can I do? What other things have I been thinking about doing? So I thought for this one, I came up with some new ideas, and there'll be some stuff that I've done before I'll throw in there. But what we're going to do, Ben, is when I introduce and demonstrate a power tool, you're going to give us a audio signal, some sort of a. You want to test one of those, just so you know what we might be.
Let's start with we'll start real classy with the Jeopardy times up.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do. That's fine.
We have a selection.
Yeah, we'll keep going, but anyway, that'll work. So when I do a new power tool, if you spot one, or if I pause, just give us a sign, and maybe if you don't mind, jot it down. I don't know, type it. I guess you write things down, but you type things up. I was thinking, I don't know why that is, but anyway, whichever, just so we kind of, if you could just keep a list going for us, and then we'll see at the end how we did. That'll be fun. So starting right out, the first one I thought I would do, which I think is pretty awesome. I learned this from our friend Doug Alberg. Doug and I have been good friends since I started 17 years ago, and I was going to the Boston office a couple times a week, and Doug was showing up, and we got to know each other. We've just been good friends ever since. So he's, of course, now our survey product manager, doing an awesome job there. And so I had used lot networks really from very early on. When I joined the company, we were just about to release the first Carlson Civil, which was kind of the son of ServCAD is what it used to be called, and we came the new naming and the new programs. And one of the things David introduced was this LotNet thing, and it was this incredible power tool that you have a large parcel and you have some center lines of roads in there, and you basically say, give me 1 acre lots with 100-foot minimum frontage, and here's the road network, and you say go, and it basically fills the whole thing with lots. It's quite remarkable, and I did a ton with it, and I've shown it, and I think I've done videos, and it's a great tool. But what I never really did, and Doug kind of introduced me to, is this idea of just subdividing an area. Instead of using a full lot network in certain situations, you don't have a whole subdivision, you don't have roads, you just have an area you want to subdivide. So Doug kind of showed me how this works, and I've been playing with it. So I thought that was something cool to introduce. So that's the first thing. That's the first power tool that we're going to show. Ben, thank you. Okay, so all I've got here is just a simple polyline in orange for kind of a lot perimeter, and then I've got a second polyline along the frontage, and these are the two requirements. And I didn't quite follow that when I first started messing with it, but even if the right of way is what this is going to be, and the reason it needs that is so it knows where the front is, so it can deal with the frontage. So you can just trace right over, which is what I did. I just traced right over the first one for the right of way. So those are the two things that you basically need. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you lot network settings, and we're going to look at, we're making an LTN file. It's a lot network. Even though, again, we're not using that full thing, we're using the subdivide thing, but it's still tied in. The LTN file is still tied in. And then we have certain settings like, do you want to label stuff? Do you want to automatically update labels automatically? Do you want to label lines and arcs? And if you do want to label lines and arcs, you can come in here to editing, and you've got all your settings, for your lines and arcs. Down here is, do you want to label the areas? And again, you've got settings for all of that, okay? Square meters and hectares is what we're working doing metric, because I cover Canada. I've been turning Canadian and trying to turn metric, and doing pretty well. I've got the speed stuff down, kilometers per hour. I got that, and temperature, that was a tough one. And of course meters and all the rest of it, doing pretty good. Hectares I hadn't dealt that much with, so I had to look it up. And Ben, do you know how many square meters there are in a hectare?
444,321.
No, 10,000, which just like me, oh, of course it's 10,000. It's just a great system. So that's what we're working with here. So you set all this up, and you set up all your label styles, whatever, or you use the defaults, but that's kind of your to get started thing. And then what you do is you basically come up here. I'm going to use the ribbon up here for area layout, and I'm in, what am I in? I am in civil right now. So lot networks and all of this lot stuff is in civil and in survey. The entire menu is in both programs. So this is an overlap between the two. So you have to set a boundary. So you say I want, and I pick this button with the big B to set the boundary, and I pick this guy here, and I say that's my boundary. That's all. And then the next thing you got to do, which is the one that I missed for a while because I didn't understand, you have to set the right of way. So I say set the right of way, which is the button right under it, and I just pick this guy here and press enter, and I've set the right of way. And that's all you really need to do to get going. And then you say, okay, now I want to subdivide an area. Is this button over here? So I say subdivide. It says pick an area inside, and it comes up and says, what's your method? What's your target size? And I put 5,000 square meters, which is half a hectare in case. The minimum frontage, you know, you can set what you want, what's going to have to be there for. I'm going to change this to like 40 meters. And then maximum lot depth is important, minimum lot depth, but maximum lot depth, if it's less than the depth of your area, then it's going to stop the lot and kind of have an area back behind the lot, which maybe you want. But if you don't want that, you got to make sure this exceeds. This thing is about 70 by about 300 meters. So this is fine. 100 would do the job. But anyways, that's this. What's the edge method, and what do you do with the last lot? I say add. I said add whatever's left over to the last lot is what this one does. Okay. And there's a building placement thing we're not going to mess with today, but anyway, just say okay. So it highlights the intersection, if you will, of the right of way and the boundary. And it says, where do you want to start? And you just basically just pick at the end you want to start. And there it is. And it's like, okay, you know, here you go. And it starts laying out these lots, and it did exactly what I asked. It added the rest. It didn't quite have enough for 2, so it added it to the last one. And I've got the settings to label everything. Very simple to do. And, you know, I've got labeling the lines, and I've got a setback set, you know, and it did those for me. You know, just pretty awesome, pretty powerful, just for doing some simple subdivision work. And now you get to play with it. Is the cool part is like, okay, that's interesting. You know, what else can we do? And I'm going to do an interesting one that I like is sliding side area. Okay, so I'm going to say sliding side area, and it says, okay, pick inside the lot that I want to adjust. So let's say this lot here, which is 1 hectare, we're going to pick inside there, and it says, okay, I know which lot to work on. Which side do you want to adjust? And I go, I want this side. And it says, okay, that's a sliding side, and it says, you know, you're at 5,000 square meters. What do you want? And I'm going to go 7,500, you know, and I just press enter, and boom, you know, there it is now. And it adjusts the other lot. That, you know, this is the cool part. That was awesome, but this is cool because it basically fixed this one too, or adjusted that one as well, which is, you know, I'm pretty easily entertained, but that's pretty cool. And you can continue to do that. You can do stuff like this. You can say up here, I can say remove. One of them here is remove a lot edge. Here it is, add and remove lot edges. These are lot points where you can actually add points to change things, which is interesting too. But we're going to say remove a lot edge. And I just say, you know what, we talk to the developer, and we're going to go with bigger, more expensive lots instead of, so we just say, let's put these 2, and I just pick that boundary and it makes 1 lot out of that, you know, pretty cool. And then I talked to them again, and they changed their mind. It's very unusual, but they said, here's what we actually want to do is, you know, I'm gonna draw a polyline, and I'm gonna come across here, and then I'm going to use a nearest O-snap. I did a nearest at the beginning, and I'm gonna O-snap over here. And that's just a polyline, folks. That's just a 2D polyline. I can show you that with Drawing Inspector. Let's turn Drawing Inspector on. Drawing Inspector, Ben, Drawing Inspector, that's a power tool.
Hold on, I had a Taco Bell. There we go. Actually, it sounds a lot like the last bell, but that was
okay.
Taco
Do you have
Bell.
do you have like an auga or something like that, or anyway,
All right,
just see
Auga's
what you can
coming
do.
up next.
You're doing good. Here's my Drawing Inspector, and you right click and you say what you want to see. There's a layer and an elevation. Those are the 2 I usually use, but you can see all kinds of stuff. Angle distance is awesome, you know, just to kind of hover over a line and get its bearing and length and stuff. So if you're checking a plan to see if it matches and stuff like that, you know, it's just great stuff here. But we're going to turn that off, and I'm just going to do, and you can see that it's at 0. So now I come in and I say to this guy, add a lot edge. I did remove. I say add, and I just pick this polyline that I drew, you know, just manually. Boom, boom, there it is. And that's now a lot edge. Subdivides everything, recalculates everything. You know, I think that's pretty awesome. And there's other tools that you can use, you know, to keep editing stuff or whatever. But that's kind of what I wanted to introduce you to, really, is this idea of using subdivide when you don't necessarily have a subdivision to do with, you know, 30 lots or whatever. You're just trying to subdivide 1 lot, let's say, and you do some what ifs and so on and so forth. So that's the first one really, is using that tool in kind of a different way, and I wanted to show you that. So that's the first one. Okay, let's save this drawing in case we decide to go back to it, and let's move to a new drawing for the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. The topic here basically is the idea of importing a shape file and specific to contours. I wanted to have a little discussion about that specific thing because it still happens a lot. I mean, there's a lot of shape files out there, and it's old technology, but they're still out there by the millions, and many of them have contours. So if you're dealing with shape files with contours, I wanted to show you something that's here, and part of the reason is we had this years ago, a couple versions ago, and it worked, but it needed a little improvement. And then we kind of we have this fantastic programmer that's doing that kind of work for us, and she contacted me and said, I'm working on this thing, can you help? And we went back and forth, and she put together, I think, a really nice new shape import. And by the way, I'm running 2023 beta here. I don't know if that's allowed, but and if it blows up, there you go. But I thought I would go ahead and run 2023. So this is I'm not sure exactly what it looks like in 2022. It might be the same, but I think it's had some more improvements here. I'm pretty sure. So here we go. So I basically now where am I going to find this? I'm going to find this in two places. I'm going to find it in Survey or in GIS. If you have Survey or GIS. So if I go to Survey, it's on the GIS menu. So as you know, Survey comes with a single GIS menu that's got you can see a number of kind of key functions from the GIS program, but the GIS program itself still has other stuff, more stuff that's not here. But in Survey, they decided years ago to put in a GIS menu and to put a few things. One of them is import a shape. So we're going to import a shape, and we're going to pick the shape, and we're going to say geometry only, okay. And what I'm going to show you right off is what was done is elevate contours is just right here. It's just really nice. And then it says which attribute to use, which is almost always called elevation, but you still have to look at the attributes and say which one to use. It's almost always going to be that, but not always. And again, not every data set's going to have this. You may go there, may not have this attribute. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. I want to show you some other stuff. But for this one, and the only options I have for layering is use feature name, use a layer name, same layer for everything, or attribute name. Well, the feature and the attribute name are all the same. It's not going to, what I'm after is to get the 2s and the 10s on different layers. I've spoken to them about that, and I hope they're going to revisit that. It's not currently doing that, but that's something. But I've got something I want to show you along those lines. So, so I set this up like this, and I say okay, and imports this guy. And if I turn on the drawing inspector in this drawing, because it's a different drawing, and you'll see that sure enough, everything got elevated nicely. Okay, they're all on the same layer, but they're all at elevation, which is what I'm really after. So I wanted to show you that that's there. Know that you can do that. That's potentially a pretty powerful power tool. I'd say that was a power tool, is import shape with elevation. Do you think, Ben?
Quite clearly.
Okay, good. That's a pretty good one. Okay, so now I'm going to erase all this. I want to show you something else. We're going to import shape again. You're going to do this a few times, and we're not going to elevate this time. So maybe the data's not there, or maybe we choose not to elevate. And I'm going to show you, these are different mindsets here, different workflows. And I want to show you a few options, okay? So we're just going to run this thing again and rip these babies in. And now you see they're all at 0. Okay. So what I thought I would show you next is, well, I want to make a surface out of it, but I also, it's important for me to see the intermediates and the indexes and or maybe I just want to use the indexes or something like that. So because they're all on one layer and I don't really have a better way to do it directly at the moment, we're hopeful, but at the moment, so what I wanted to show you is another power tool, and this is going to be in civil, construction, or Takeoff OEM actually. If we switch to civil, and we're going to go to what's called the 3D data, the awesome 3D data menu, which is called Elevate in construction and Takeoff. They changed the name here to 3D data, but the tools are pretty much identical, frankly. And we're going to come down to this really cool idea right here, which is where is it? Oh, come on. Oh, it's just looking right at it. Now, where is it? Contours. Is it not here? No, it's got to be here. Oh, here it is. Sorry, it's up at the top. I think in construction, it's down further. Anyway, I'll use that as an excuse because I didn't find it. It's right here. Assign contour elevations, and we have this amazing multiple in series. So if you've got a shape import and you don't elevate it for some reason, or this layer thing I'm going to show you is important, or you are PDFing, in a good way, and you get a PDF, and of course, it does an awesome job, and there's your contours, but they're all zero. So this is what this is for: elevate multiple in series. It's just a beautiful thing. So we say, okay, we're going to change polyline properties. We're going to use 2s and 10s, and we're going to put them on different layers. You see this? And we can change their line type and their width, which I'm not going to do, or their color, which I'm not going to do. And I'm going to say, okay. And it says, okay, pick a starting point. I pick here, and you just drag across a bunch of contours. And you want to make sure they kind of don't loop over themselves, kind of a thing. So you got to be a little bit careful. You don't want to do too many at once, but that's pretty major if I can do all those. And it says, what's your beginning elevation? Oh, you know what? I didn't show you. I need to show you this. Settings, that's what I wanted to show you. Oh, no, I did show you that. Okay. So we got settings, we're good. We start here, we drag across here. Yeah, and it says, what's the starting elevation? And it says 336, whatever. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't care, but you'll know what it is. And then it says, is it going up or down? And I had put in there there's a 2 foot. Now this is an imperial data set, so 2 foot. So I said it's going up. And what happens is, instantaneously, practically, is it elevates all these contours, and it puts the intermediates and the indexes on 2 different layers. And that's kind of cool. So whether you're coming in from PDF or whether you're coming in maybe with a shape, but you don't have elevation attributes, which you may run into. But I wanted to show you this tool, which is again, Ben, this is 3D data, assign elevate contour multiple in series power tool.
A dramatic one here.
What was that? It sounded like a kitten or something.
I think it's a gong.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Oh, that's my favorite so far. Okay, so there you go. And we're just gonna wipe all this out. I just wanted to show you that, okay? And now I'm gonna show you another idea, one more idea on this topic. On this very same topic, we're gonna go one step beyond, as they used to say when I was a kid, one step beyond. Ben, yeah, that was before your time. There's my shape file. I am gonna elevate them, myself and them, and just rip those babies in there again. And there they are at elevation. Oh no, I didn't check the box. Oh my goodness. This is what we call Without a Net. Do you know that album, Ben, Without a Net? It's a classic. It's something.
No, who's that?
Something that I live by. So I missed this elevate contours, my mistake. So we say, okay, and we bring them in again. And of course, my drawing inspector immediately told me, and that, see who knows what I did wrong? Probably everybody. I did it, but that's okay. You know, you make mistakes, you kind of learn stuff, because a lot of people will try this, it won't work, and they'll go, but if they watch this, they'll go, oh, I remember that guy forgot to pick which attribute to use. Oh, I didn't pick the shapefile. Wow, it's just getting flustered, Ben. But it's okay though.
You can do it. You can do
We're
it.
professionals here. We're going to
Put
continue
on
on.
without a net.
Yeah, so I didn't pick the shapefile, didn't work. I forgot to pick this last time, but these are the things you got to do, and hopefully you'll do better than me. So now we elevate, and they come in and they're at elevation. There we go, that's what we wanted. Now, here's my new idea. Now I attempted this on the whole data set in my little practice session, and it actually, it took a really long time. So I'm gonna do this. I'm going to draw a rectangle there. Just type R-E-C-T rectangle, and we're going to do edit, erase, and we're going to erase by a closed polyline, which is totally a power tool.
Coming, it's coming.
Yeah, Ben.
Did you like your meep meep?
I didn't hear it. No, no, I don't know. We're not getting that one, Ben. Sorry, I got to keep going. My audience is going to get impatient here. Okay, erase by close. You come back. I'll come back. You find it, and then I'll come back. Erase by close poly, and it says pick the perimeter, and we pick this guy here, and then it says what do you want to erase, and we say everything, and we're going to auto select what to clip. So it's not going to ask us to pick what to clip. It's going to pick everything, and it's going to select everything and clip it at the boundary. Now, if you don't clip it, you know, it's only going to do like a crossing thing. So we're going to say clip it, erase outside, and it's going to basically do that, which is pretty cool. That's definitely a power tool, I think.
All right.
And these guys are at elevation. So now we're going to go into Triangulating Contour. And you probably know where I'm going here, is we're going to say Triangulating Contour. We're going to write out a tin, which I already have. We're going to overwrite that because I was practicing. I actually did practice this a little bit, believe it or not. And we're gonna create new contours on these layers that we used earlier, and we're gonna label them. That's fine. That's all we're gonna do. Okay, so overwrite the existing tin and then pick the stuff you want to use, and we pick that, and it rips through. And what it did was created new contours. Now, when you look at them versus the originals, you know, yes, there's a difference there, but you know, it may not be so bad. It kind of smoothed out some of this jaggedy stuff, you know, like they may actually be an improvement. But now it also put them on two different layers, which is what I was really after. And it made a surface, of course, too. So now I'm gonna say I like that and get rid of the originals, which are on GIS import. So I'm gonna use another power tool, Ben, under Edit Erase. It's called erase by layer. I love this. I could not live without this. Erase by layer, and it wants me to pick a layer from the screen, and I pick this guy and press enter. It says you pick this layer. I say okay. It does not purge it or anything. It just wipes it clean, leaves it there, but it's cleaned. And I love that's a power tool, huh, Ben?
Adding some comedy.
Ben, I'm not hearing anything. Oh yeah, okay. That's a good one. I like that. Okay, so now thank you. Let's take a look at this view, 3D view, surface file viewer. This is totally a power tool that I use all the time, Ben.
Oh, we need a different one? Oh, it's gonna be tough.
No,
Here.
go to same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, and we're gonna pick this guy from contours. And here's our surface. Now, what's interesting is you get to see what happens when you make a surface from contours. You see, it's you know, it is what it is. that's what contours do, because every vertex on every contour is a data point. So that's what you get, which is not wrong. And there is a smoothing thing in here, which I don't normally do a smoothing factor, because it's kind of cheating. Here's smooth surface. Let's see. So it's kind of smooth. It's kind of cool, but it's not. It doesn't show you the raw data, but it does show you something a little better. And then here's color by elevation. We can turn that on, which helps. And of course, we can move our light source around. So we'll return to the surface viewer, but this is a major tool that I look at every surface I build. Every surface I build, I want to see it. I want to analyze it visually. So that's what this is for. Okay, all right, so we did that. Okay, so there's my, import shape with contours idea. But I wanted to show you, how to elevate if it's got attribute data, how to change the layers potentially if you do elevate them, make a surface and recontour it. If they don't have elevations, I wanted to show you how to elevate the contours very quickly. Okay, so those are a couple different, I thought, related power tools. They were kind of in the same power tool family, you might say. You could say that. I might say that. Okay, all right, let's move on. Hey, we're doing good. 233. This is pretty good. We're about halfway through. I'm like, so far so good. Nothing has completely blown up or anything, so I'm liking it. So on to the next major. We kind of have major themes, and then we have kind of minor themes, to our piece that we're composing here today. And this is the next major theme. Maybe it's a movement, you might say. And it is, again, I have to totally tip my hat to my dear friend, Doug, who is a wizard at survey. Every time I need help, I'm like, Doug, help. And he's always there. But he basically is like, oh, deed correlation. Oh, that's the greatest thing ever. I'm like, well, what's that? So he showed me and taught me that, and we've shown it to a bunch of folks. It is well documented in the practical guide written by Doug. And there's a great lesson, and this is the data set from that lesson, which is why I show that. So if you have that book, you can actually run this data set. If you don't have that book, you should get one, because it's awesome. So what we have is a field survey over here, points 1 through, let's take a look. Points list 1 through 23, and this is our field survey. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. And what we have here is, of course, we drew a deed. So we have a deed, and we have a field survey, and we go, how we need to correlate these. This is like, every day for a lot of folks. So Carlson has this incredible power tool called deed correlation, Ben.
Wow, caught me in the middle. All right, hold on.
We can come back.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
I have no idea. I have no idea what that was.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens from Curly.
Really? That's great. Okay, we'll use that one again for the next one, okay? Because I missed it.
I like it.
So I drew the deed. I'm not going to show that because it takes a few minutes to draw out the deed. That is a power tool, but I'm not going to show it, so we don't get to count that one. But it's a great power tool. Is deed and writing a deed and editing it and drawing it. Some great stuff. That's in that chapter, by the way. But I went ahead and said we've already got it drawn. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set points out the corners of the deed. Now, interestingly, and I'm not sure why, but it happens. This is only in survey. Is set, create points from entities, which is totally a power tool, Ben. Create points from entities.
Got to unmute. There we go. All right.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
I'm still not getting all that, but it's still good. So I don't know really honestly why it's on the COGO menu only in survey, because man, just everybody could use this, but that's where it is. So you just say, I got one line or 1,000 lines or whatever, and I need to set points for stakeout or whatever. In this case, it's for deed correlation. So I picked this guy. It asks me some stuff. I'm going to use kind of a different symbol. I'm going to put it on a different layer. I'm going to start with point number 500. That's important. And put the points on their own layer is what I meant to say there. And I'm going to use the same description, which is boundary, BNDRY. Same description for all points, Okay, and we're going to say okay, and it says, what do you want it to react to, or is there anything you want it to ignore? And that could happen, but basically it's a polyline, so that's that. We'll say skip the radius point. We don't really need, that's going to put a radius for this curve. We can skip that, skip the midpoints for sure, and say okay. And it says pick the guy, and you pick it and press enter, and like magic, it sets points at all the vertices. This can be incredibly useful for a ton of different things, okay? So now we have a set of points on our deed and a set of points from the field survey, and now we gotta do the analysis. We gotta do this true surveyor's expertise of, well, how do we get this stuff to fit? How do we fit what we got in the field with what we drew up that we had from the old plan? So what we have in survey is deed correlation. Okay, so we're going to go deed correlation, and I already made a deed correlation file, so I'm going to load it, and it basically it has all this set up, and all I did was I said add point, and I said survey point, deed point, survey point, deed point. Okay, but I didn't want to go through that in this time, because it's limited. So I did that ahead of time, but that's all you do is just say, okay, survey point 1 is deed point 506, survey point 20, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty straightforward. And then you save it as a DCF, a deed correlation file, and that's what I did so I could pull it back. Now the first thing you can do is you can do an inverse report. No coordinate stored for point. Let's see. Why is that? No, oh, see, I knew this. Let's see, why would that be? Let's exit here. And let's check let's list our points. I was afraid of this one. Yeah, there they are. Okay, let's try this again. Deed correlation, and see if that's gonna work this time. Yeah, okay, so I just had to reload. I'm not exactly sure why. But anyway, I'm not sure what that was, but no deal. So here is the report of all of the inverses, from point 1 to all the others, point 506 to the others, and you can compare. You can look at this report and get some ideas about what's going on. How well is it fitting, okay? Then you can find the minimum alignment down here, which is this awesome report that says, okay, based on all that information, we're looking at all of the pairs and we're coming up with the residuals essentially. And we get to very quickly see these are all couple 2, 3, 400ths. This one is almost 3/10. So we know that 0.501, there's a problem there with 501. It was probably, put in wrong, or maybe it was bent over, but we can find out which one seems to be the problem. Very, very incredibly powerful. That's with the best fit. That's the minimum alignment. And it says that here's the minimum alignment, but this is the guy that seems to be problematic, right? But now basically I say, okay, let's go with that. And I say, apply the alignment. So it says, okay, what's the range of points you're going to apply this to? And it's 1 through 23. That's what we're going to apply it to. And we're going to basically say, 505 is going to be, or excuse me, 23 is 505. That's what I meant to do here. And 0.1, of course, is 506. So you're basically saying, here's the translation and the rotation. This is a standard CFU, and no offense meant. It's a coordinate file utility, and it basically does align, translate, and rotate. But that's what it jumps into. It says, okay, let's do a translate, rotate of what points what's your basis for the translation? What's your basis for the rotation? And do you have screen entities you want to move with it, which I do. Okay, and I say ignore elevations. We're not transforming vertically. So we say okay, and it says pick what you want to change. And I take the survey and I press enter, and it says it aligned to 11 points. And it aligns the points, aligns the line work, does this best fit. And basically, if I look at my points now, you know, well, it's hard to tell, I guess, from before, but now they're all lined, they've all been moved. 1 through 23 have been redefined in their new location. So that is deed correlation. And Doug and I have shown this to a couple folks, and they just, you know, we had one guy, we were doing an online training, it was awesome, and one of the students put up a video of a guy, he was just like slapping his forehead, and he just was like, he's like, oh my God, if I had known this 2 years ago. So that's why I wanted to show it. It really is an incredible power tool that that tons of people I think could use. And it appears from my conversations, tons of people just don't know it's there. I just talked to a guy the other day, and he was a Carlson user, and you know, he's like, I showed it to him, and he's like, oh, how did I not know that was there? So I wanted you guys to know that. So that's deed correlation, and that is our third major theme for today. And I don't know how many power tools we're up to. Do you have a count yet, Ben, or should I wait for the end? I should wait for the end. Well, how
I
many
have
are
a
we up
highly
to?
inaccurate count, though. I'm a little busy looking for sound effects, so
Oh, okay. Well,
my number could be off by
okay. Well, it
say
doesn't.
2 or 3 hundredths.
That's okay. Doesn't matter. I was curious, but we'll see. I'm looking at my list here. Yeah, we're doing good. I got a couple. Okay, so let's go to our last data set here, folks. This is another data set that I wanted to work with here. And once again, let's turn on our handy dandy drawing inspector. And I'm looking at layer and elevation again, you know, and we got this stuff going. Now these points are in the drawing at 0, but they still obviously when I use them, it's going to use the elevation from the coordinate file. I just drew them at 0. Whether you draw them at 0 or whether you draw them at elevation is always an interesting question. And there's pros and cons in different situations, obviously, for sure. But these are at 0. But what I also wanted you to note is this is points final, and this is points. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's isolate just the PNTS and see what's there, okay? Let's find one. Here's one. And here's an interesting power tool, Ben.
All right, this is a dramatic one, so I hope it lives up to the hype.
Oh, it does. Yeah, that was great. Can you get the, you know, we could end with the end of the Beatles, you know, Day in the Life, you know, with the pianos. Maybe you could get that for us at the end.
I'm liking
It's
it.
called, you work on that. It's called Isolate Layers. I use this like, I mean, I use this more than I brush my teeth. I use this endlessly. So I just pick an object, and I'm picking not the attribute, I'm picking the point block, and I press enter, and it isolates. And of course it did exactly what it isolated that layer, which means it shut off, you know, the attributes. Now I can turn those back on very quickly. Here's the descriptions, elevations, and the numbers. Okay, and I was also going to change the elevations here too. I kind of like this day glow pink thing. I think that I like that. So that's isolate layer. And I just, my goodness, you get these complex drawings, and you're like, I just want to see something. So, you know, to figure out what's going on, do some more isolate. Unbelievable. And what's really great about isolate, I think, is its the reverse side, which is restore. I don't know if it gets its own power tool, but they kind of go together. But what this does is it does not thaw all your layers. It does not thaw all your layers. It puts everything back to the way it was before you isolated, which is very, very different, right? So to show you, if I use this will count as a power tool, Ben, are you ready? I'll tell you what it is and then you're gonna hit it. You ready? It's called freeze layer by picking. Here we go. Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna pick, still going. Okay, we're gonna pick freeze that, and we're gonna pick freeze this and this, okay? And this, okay? Now, if I run isolate, I'm gonna say isolate again, isolate, and we're going to, which one is this? We're gonna pick this guy and isolate. Okay, and again, the attributes went off, I won't bother. But what I wanna show you is when I say restore, it does not bring back all those layers that I froze. It puts it back to the way it was before I ran the isolate. There's a huge distinction there that's very important. Okay, so on to our major theme for this last movement of our presentation portion. I guess movement's probably not a good word to use, but anyway, musical is what I meant. But anyway, I have a set of points for one surface and a set of points for another surface. Very, very common, right? They go out, you survey a big site, and then a couple of weeks of work go by and you go survey it again. This is what we've got here, which of course leads us to the incredible takeoff phenomenon, which is in takeoff, construction, and civil. This part is frankly in all three. And what we do is we tell this function. In civil, it's called SiteNet. In takeoff, in construction, it's takeoff, basically. But what we're doing, this button right here, I should try and show you, it's right here. Or if I go to civil, it's right here under SiteNet. It's define layers, essentially. And this is where it lists all of your layers in your drawing, and you do this phenomenal thing, which is you say, everything on this layer. So I'll send this back. Points final, I'm gonna move to other. See this points final, move to other, and you see it goes and it shows back up here. That's how you move layers. So I say points final, move to design. Okay, so you're telling it any geometry you find on this or these layers, it could have 1 or 100, use that geometry to build a design surface. Any geometry you find on this layer or these layers, use to build an existing condition surface with one mouse pick. I've called this the one-click wonder. I've done some videos and sessions at our conferences and stuff. I just think this is a phenomenal tool, and it is in civil. Obviously, takeoff and construction add all kinds of other things, especially takeoff adds all kinds of awesome stuff. So, but this functionality actually is in civil. So basically I say, yep, that's what I want to do. And we're going to save and exit. And then all I got to do with this whole idea is define a boundary. Once again, we have this idea of a boundary. And it says you already have one. So I'm going to say, yeah, clear that so I can show you. I'm just going to pick this as a boundary. And that's all it's saying is I need an area to work inside of. That's all it's saying. So, okay, thanks. It's got that. And now we basically have said, here's my layers, here's my boundary. This click says make existing. And it says da, 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 done. Okay. And then this click here says make design. And it's done. So one click, it makes two surfaces. And then the next click, of course, typically would be give me a volume calc. And it says, you know, you got to redo that, which isn't really true, but I'll just say yes anyway, I don't really care. And I say, okay, and there's my volume calc between those two. Well, actually, I'll show you. See, I was practicing and I left it set the wrong way. Oh, hate that. I have to do this. Bear with me.
Gary, you're going to regret hiring a Foley artist in me because I'm just sitting here with this sound effect.
Are you? You're ready. Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yes,
that was appropriate. That's fine. I deserve that.
it's involuntary. It's part of my job now.
Yeah, let's try this volume calc again and see if it's going to still be confused. No, there we go. Okay. So what it did, folks, was thanks for that. I appreciate that because I was waiting for that. It hasn't been too bad, but again, this is without a net. This is what happens, but you know,
You've
take it
redeemed
or leave it.
yourself. I think you'll get
Well,
a good one coming up.
hopefully. So here's my volumes between those surfaces, okay? Now, what time is, yeah, I got 7 minutes. This is awesome. Okay, so now I want to show you two more things. First, I'm going to draw a polyline across here. And I'm going to use, Ben, yet another power tool called Quick Profile. You ready? Go.
See, you're
That was it.
resplendent.
Oh my God. Okay, surface file. The first one is going to be original ground, and the second one is going to be finished grade, ZE. Now, if you're in construction Takeoff, it automatically, this whole quick profile and all this stuff is already programmed to look at the surfaces that it's making by default. So it's kind of a different phenomenon. In civil, you kind of have to be a little more hands-on and tell it what surfaces you want to deal with. But basically, I say those are the two. I'm going to use a polyline, and I pick the polyline, and it generates this profile of the two surfaces. Oh, those are the same surface. Those must be the same surface. Let's try this again. OG. Oh, let's try FG. There we go. Sorry, my mistake. I picked the wrong surface. I changed these suffixes, but I didn't do it in 2023. That's going to be my excuse. That's why those extensions, those suffixes, I've always struggled with. But anyway, there's my two surfaces along this polyline, and I can adjust the alignment. I can pick it up and move the whole thing and get a real-time display of the two surfaces. I just love this. I can also pick one end of it and adjust it this way, you know. And what's cool is if like I really want that, I can save that as a profile, which we could do years ago. We'll call this, Polyline 1. But what I begged Dave to do, which he was kind enough to do before he left, is you can now save your adjusted center line. See, before, if you play with it, to get different things, it doesn't remember where you left it, but now it lets you save this location. So I go, yeah, save that location as Polyline 1, and it writes out a polyline file, which is really cool. And of course you can draft it too. If I say draw, I'm going to run out of time, but I think I'm going to make it. It's not going to look good. The grid intervals are not good. So I just want to show you that I can draw it. Let's see. Yeah, grid intervals are terrible, but anyway, you can draw it. It's saved and you can draw it. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. We're almost there. We got 5 minutes. Okay, so I want to show you Surface Viewer. So that was quick we got that one. Surface Viewer, and we're going to look at OG in our Surface Viewer. Okay, and we're going to take off color by elevation. And what I want to show you is over here under models, we can add another surface. This is awesome. So we're going to add FG. Okay, and what I did, I had set this up so it remembered. You double click, you can set the color, and you can override the color from the file. So I'll change this to well, whatever. Change it to that just so you can see. Should work. Yeah. So what you see here, folks, is the two surfaces, right? Which when you start seeing where cut and fill is and stuff, because you can look at multiple surfaces here. Okay, very cool. All right, now here comes the punchline for this one. In this functionality of SiteNet in Civil or Takeoff is you can add more than two surfaces, because you go, well, that's cool, but I flew it again. I have another surface. Now what? Well, you're in luck. Okay, so we go in here and we say, in this guy, we say add a target. That's what the theme of this is, the target. And we call this guy pad. We're going to add a target called pad. And then we're going to say, okay, take the layer called pad and move it to pad. So now the layer configuration, I don't know why they call it a target, but this new surface, quote unquote target, is being told what layers to use, okay? So we say, okay, save that. And now comes the magic as we come in here and we say, under surface tools, we say number 1, make a user-defined surface. Okay, so this is what I'm going to give you a second, Ben, because this is we need something good. This is this whole idea of adding additional surfaces to your Takeoff SiteNet calculation enterprise, you know, because now you can have as many as you want. So I make this surface. That's that step, make that surface, and then comes the critical step, which is to set the active surfaces. You see this? So you got to tell the software, okay, it's not existing in design, it's existing in pad. That's what you do. And then when you do a volume calculation, it says your volume is now being compared between existing and pad. And you see, this is all fill, by the way. So now I get a new volume calculation, okay? And if I want to do, you want to throw one in for that, for the target surface? Give me that one.
You weren't impressed with the last fanfare, so here's a little more fanciful one.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was a good one. Now they're a little faint, but I'm getting them. Could just be me. I double click. Here's the grand finale. I double click on this pad template that I made. And if I have civil, I can edit it by double clicking. If I have survey, you know, an honest guy, you can't double click and edit if you just have survey. You can make it, but you can't edit it. Don't ask me exactly, but you could write your congressman or something. But anyway, if I have civil, I can double click and edit it. So I'm going to say that, it's picking up a bad elevation though. Oh my goodness. 277. Let's put this at 250 and reprocess it. Oh yeah. Okay, this isn't going to work because I did this on a different. I'd have to do a new pad template, and I don't have time. So anyway, I'll do this instead. I'll go to the surface viewer, and I want to show you. Let's do FG this time, and now let's come over here and add pad. This will be good. You can see these two. This is kind of cool. So you can see those two. So there's my target additional surface. There's my viewer showing those guys. The pad template editor didn't work because I had done that previously in a different drawing and stuff. So that was my mistake. I didn't think that would not edit, but we can we take 2 more minutes?
We sure can, Gary, because I finally got an idea for an ending sound effect. So
okay, good. So okay, here we're going to draw a rectangle. What is it? What's happening here? Polyline. Oh, I'm typing the wrong command. Totally flustered here. We got it. We're going to do this guy, draw this rectangle, and we're going to surface. We're going to design a pad template, and we're going to target surface on the outside, spacing, drop that down, put it on layer pad, and pick the polyline, and target surface is FG, and 3-to-1 slopes for cut or fill, and it says 276, 277. We'll go with 277, so we'll get some cut and some fill. Okay, so there's a pad template. Now, if I double click this guy, It says, do I want to change anything? I say no. Create a surface, I'm going to say no. Contour it, I'm going to say no. And then I'm going to double click and see if this works now. So it comes up, there it is, and it's at 277. So I'm going to drop this baby to 250. So this, and I reprocess it. In Canada, we process things. So I dropped it way down, and that's maybe a little too much. Let's go to 260 and process it. That'll work, okay? And you can move and everything. So this is the pad template editor, which we're not going to pause for a sound effect because we're out of time. But here's what I wanted to show you. This whole thing is now on layer pad. So you know where I'm going, right? So I go back to SiteNet, right? And I say surface tools, and I say make design user-defined surface pad, and it makes it again, right? It makes it again. And then I go surface tools, and I go set active, existing and pad, and now we say, give me a volume calculation, and we get a very different volume calculation. It's comparing existing and pad right now, but you can see it's dramatically changed because I did this thing, and now for the grand finale, we have visuals, and we say show us a cut and fill color map, and we're going to set that to a nice fine 500 so we get a bunch. Now, let's see if this works. And there we go. There's our cut and fill color map comparing finish grade to the target pad, which now has two pads, one's above and one's below, one's a cut, one's a fill. So you can do your last sound effect for that. I think that's worth something. That's great. That's like a Star Trek kind of thing. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for all your help and playing along. I hope that was useful. I don't know where the list was because I kept him so busy with sound effects, but I hope.
Officially, I ran out of room at 17, so I think I played 17 sound effects. So
Awesome. Well, I hope that helps folks. Just a wide range of stuff. That's what's fun about Power Tools, is they can be from any program on any topic. If you have ideas, send them to me, grosen@carlsonsw.com. And keep up the good work and stay healthy and happy, and we'll catch you all on the flip side. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much, Gary. That was fun. And thanks to all of you for attending today. As a quick reminder, you'll receive an email with a recording for the entirety of today's session about 2 hours from now. If you would like to join our next session in this Western webinar series, it will not be next week. It'll be the 14th, which is a Wednesday after next, September 14th. With Mark Long. There we go. Mark Long will be teaching hydrology fundamentals. A link to register for any of our upcoming webinars, including that hydrology webinar, will also be in the email you'll receive in about 2 hours. So thanks again for joining, everyone. Thank you, Professor. Everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Ben.